Greetings, everybody. Hopefully, y'all can hear me and things are coming through okay. Huh. Hey, look at that. Little auto retweet. Always like that. Hope everyone's doing okay today. I am certainly looking forward to the session. We've got lots of interesting stuff going on. We got 4 more days raising money for the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund. So, hope we can meet our goal there. And, yeah. Gosh, I feel like I don't have things that I need open, but I guess I do. I'm looking around. Thanks for those retweets out there. I do appreciate it. Our cast is gathering in the back room. Man, I want like pretzels. Why do I have a craving for pretzels? I probably want something salty. But we won't be doing that now, will we? Hope everyone's been having a good day out there in the D&D world and a good week. I have had a very nice week of gaming. I've got other craziness going on in my life, but gaming has been pretty consistent, which is always nice. Lots of big streams going on today. I know Unmade Gaming has got a big charity stream going on. I know Laura Lania's got one happening a little bit. I know tomorrow Laura Lania has one. So a lot of our friends out there doing good work as well. And making sure that, or helping out every way they can. Gotta get my passive perception restuck up on my computer monitor. For my party, basically, I've got my my DM screen is my 3 monitors here. But yeah. Got lots of new fun NPCs that everyone helped me create, or helped create some of on our D&D, the DM's desk over the last couple Sunday mornings. So thank you guys for that. And we've got more fun stuff. I've spent the last couple of nights getting things all organized. Falcon's Crest, man. Capital cities are daunting. They are. There's no two ways about it. But man, they are fun. When things start to click, and when they start clicking good, there's no feeling quite like it, knowing that you've created something that's going to be hopefully interesting and intriguing and exciting. All those good superlatives. We'll see. We'll see how that plays. Yeah, we'll go from there, right? I mean, that's what you got to do. You just got to sort of go with the flow of what's going on out there. Other fun stuff. Those who watch Critical Role, we had some fun new NPCs there. Got me a little squirrely about my NPCs. Man, Matt does some great work. But, I just try to take the most inspiration out as I can. Hey, Tanya, how are you doing? Welcome. Good to see you. Hope everything is going well with you. I think you've got your new campaign just started 2 weeks ago. Your second one. I mean, we've had the one that's been going for about a year now, I think, and then you just started your second one as well, if I recall. That Alicia's playing in. I don't think Tunarth's in that one as well. But anyway, good luck with that. World of Darkness, all fun system, fun system there. Yeah, I'm doing a one-shot in the Cypher system, which has been fun to sort of learn about. So that's cool. And, with the new Vampire the Masquerade 2nd edition coming out, that's kind of going to be interesting to see as well. So, but, yeah, no. So things on my end are good. I mean, Florida's hot and wet. Man, we've had rain. It's been crazy. But, just been doing my stuff, getting ready for Gen Con. I'm looking forward to that. It's about 2 months away. And, yeah, getting the party to Falcon's Crest and all the other fun and exciting things that are going on with the D&D world. We got Stream of Many Eyes coming up. That's going to be interesting. Wish I could have made it out for the Jox Machina one, but so it goes. I'll watch it online. That'll be fun. And yeah. I hear you. It's just like it's like walking around in a wet wool sweater. Not fun. Not fun at all. But yeah. Anyway, so that's what's going on here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's like, well, that's Florida in the summertime. It's just usually it doesn't, that really doesn't kick in until a little bit later on. But yeah, no, it's decided to kick a little bit early for all of us. Let's see how the cast is doing. How many of our folks we got? Man, we still only got 4 of the cast. Kind of a slow trickle coming in today. I know Alicia is out. I think she is on a plane. Flying. Must be flying home. Probably flying home for the for Memorial Day, I guess. Maybe she's taking a vacation. But I know she's on a plane somewhere. We've got Kyle, who was woken up early by his dragon. I mean, his cat. So yeah. And the rest of the gang. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all the announcements and things that are going on for Gen Con this year. Seems like there's lots of new games and new things that people are doing, expansions, etc. So that's always fun. I've got to get my voices on for today. I've got these little tree gnomes who've got high voices, so I'm drinking my tea to get my warmed up. Oh man, fun stuff. But hey Viridian, how you doing? Stupid Kyle, stupid 4 a.m. Yeah, right. He was dude. He was first one here. I guess the cat woke him up. Kemen woke him up early, so he was on like at 3 something. Hey Ishman, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, there's a good guy pie in the house. He's just getting fuzzier and fuzzier every week, I swear. Yeah, Kimmin just apparently decided it was time to get up. Boomer! Hey, how you doing? Well, 5 a.m. Eastern for him is 7 p.m. Australian. Oh, that would do it. I bet the mouse wasn't quiet either. Yeah, we had... Hey, Rachel Irish Wings! Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, my follower count's been creeping up slowly but surely, so that's been kind of fun to see. I hadn't been keeping track of it after we hit 500. We're up to like 836 now, which is just crazy to me. That's so awesome. We've got so many people who are following and interested in what we do. Yes, Viridian, but aren't they always? Isn't the Mice Army always plotting Kyle's demise? I'm gonna say we are. It's gonna be interesting. Today's gonna be fun. I'm very excited to see how today goes. This is one of those things where you kind of have the sandbox effect happening. So, oh, is my stream stuttering? I'm showing 0 dropped frames on OBS. That doesn't mean that Twitter's not doing something weird. So you guys let me know. It shows I'm broadcasting good. That doesn't necessarily mean that Twitch is sending it out good. Anyone in chat, let me know if it is affecting everybody, because I'm showing clean on my side, but like I said, there's been tweets all week about Twitch having tricky things and stuff going on. Let's see, my Twitch stream health. Thanks, everybody. Cool. I think it might just be you, Ishman. Oh, but anyway, so yeah, no, we're sort of in a sandbox point in the world. So I'm interested to see what the party does. I mean, they've been sort of on a fairly narrow channel to get here, going down Gambit. I mean, literally in the bottom of a canyon. But yeah, now the world is suddenly going to open up for them. So that's going to be interesting. I at least hope it's interesting. We've got the nice Arbor Leafs hosting them for the evening, which have lived in these parts for quite some time and might be able to help them out a little bit. So yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see what all they decide to do and how they decide to approach things and make those decisions and have some interaction as a party instead of necessarily just kind of, hey, let's make it to the next destination. So it's always fun for the DM when you get to have or know that sessions like that are coming up. Let's see. I am still missing. Wow, I'm still missing Jeanette and Templar. Huh. We might go ahead and get going with them. I can't remember if Jeanette is going to be late today. But yeah, we shall see. Anyway, no, we'll get started in about a minute and a half. And if they're here, they're here. Oh my gosh, what is this? Oh, there we go. I just got a huge message in my chat. I'm like, what in the world? What's going on? And it's the player notes on the characters. So that's always kind of a fun to see the notes that they've taken. I thought there was like something crazy had happened. Cool. Well, I think we'll just go ahead and get started. I'll let them know. I think we'll get started with introductions. I'll pop us over here in a second, guys, and then we'll go from there. So let's see. I'm going to need to go to 5cam, which I don't think I've got set up for this set of scenes, but yeah. Nope.
Created by the pantaloons of endless baguette.
But here we are. Oops, I forgot to turn this one off. Pro streamer right here. We'll see you on the other side, everyone. Okay, this is going to be interesting. Hopefully we're only on this for a little bit. But if not, we will get everything else set up. Let me get my camera on. And here we are. I'm going to work on actually getting us some background on this. But in the meantime, I'm going to get people in their right places and they can introduce themselves and do all those things. I don't even know what this gray background is. We'll go with this nighttime look until folks get here.
Windows update.
Oh, do you? Windows updates are always fun.
Oh, there we go. We got a background.
We were just discussing the fact that the pantaloons of endless baguettes are a better option than the cargo shorts of endless hardtack. This
is true. I would have to agree with that. That is not a bad assessment of things. Actually, with that, why don't we go ahead and start with Tunarth? Tunarth, tell us who you are and where we can find you and who you're playing.
Well, I am Tunarth. I am playing Kel, the Wood Elf Druid. You can find me here now. And, well, that was the question.
It's true.
And there was another part in there that I've now completely forgotten. So, but, we're here. We're gonna feast it up with the forest gnomes unless our DM decides to do something akin to what he usually does and destroy happy moments by having horrible dark things burst in upon them.
Yep. Next up, Luck.
Hi everyone. I don't know anything about nasty things. Nasty things never happen to us. Everything's fine. We're all happy here. I will be playing Luck Goldheart, the adventure extraordinaire, all the way from Elevation Pit, and is totally fine and won't kill any gnomes in a blood rage, right?
Well, right. Yes, of course.
I wasn't worried about that before.
At least not tonight. Breakfast is a totally different matter.
Right.
Well, that depends if they actually have butter or margarine spread.
There we go. Now that's what's going to do it.
You guys. Okay. Next up, we have Bird versus Plane.
Hey, folks. I am Bird versus Plane. I'll be playing Iskatul, the half-elf bard turned gunslinger, who is ready to chow down with these very nice people.
Yes. And next up, we have Dragons or Cats.
Coming from the land down under, mate, is Ishkrin, the Eladrin Warlock of the Archfey Patron, the Frost Prince, who has some now nice, cool little Sailor Moon-like little crescent moons, or horns as they're being known now, because it's the latest fashion in the cradles. He's going to be doing some wonderful people watching from within the ring until hopefully Luna pulls him out, or pulls Celia out and then he's left alone. But we'll figure that out as it happens, because gnomes, alright?
There you go. Hey, I am Tall Squall. I am your dungeon master and host for the day. welcome to the Vice. This is a campaign that's been going on for about a year and a half. This is episode 65, and we do run our campaign 100% for charity. You can find down below. This month we are supporting the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund Alliance. You can find a link down below just to our donation page, which lets you affect our game, or you can also just link on their name inside the description of what they do, and it'll take you right to their site, and you can just find out more of the resources that they might have in your area or things that they have going on, or just educate yourself about ways to protect yourself and your friends from ovarian cancer and how to prevent and do early detection, which is always the key with any types of cancers. So if nothing else, give them a click. And there's Jeanette.
I'm here.
There we go. Just as I get everyone in their other place.
Of course, that's how it works, doesn't it?
That's
To be
exactly
fair,
how it works.
High elves are typically fashionably late.
This is
So,
true.
Arriving in style.
Yes, arriving in style. We have our good friend, Jeanette. Who are you playing today?
I am playing Celia Rollerman, our high elf rogue. Why did I almost say monk for some reason? Okay. Our high elf rogue. She's a little mad at Displacer Beasts right now.
Yep, she also is currently in a ring after getting Void just beat up last episode.
She's just watching all of her friends have fun at a party.
We'll let you out eventually.
Eventually.
You're a good girl.
15 minutes and she's already singing.
And she's actually, because she's in the ring, not watching a damn thing.
They are able to look out if they would like.
Really?
Yeah, no, that is one of the things that you can do. We talked about it with.
You never told me I could do that, because I never did it, so...
Well, Iskrin
Right.
knows how to do it, and the cat certainly knows how to do it. I think that the cat did show you the outside from inside, way back in Moss Hollow.
Yeah, he
Did
did.
he?
Yeah, Masala, yeah.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
what, a year ago?
I mean, it's like a year ago. So, I forgive you. But anyway,
So sue me.
yeah. No need. But anyway, so, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on with our party. So, it's been a long day. I was sort of figuring that out. It's been a long day for you guys. Basically, last night, during second watch, Iskrin disappeared into the side of a rock. While
That was last night?
That was last night.
Okay.
Yeah, that was last night. Iskrin, awakened by the noise of battle, went to investigate again, having had a vision within the Sylvan Stone, and went to investigate once again, and was pulled into the stone and found himself in the past, where he had a kind of religious experience as he was pulled up into the stars through the open gate when it had opened at the end of the Sylvan War over 2,000 years ago, seeing his patron, the Frost Prince, and tagging along because of their foresight, using the Mirror of Peeping, were Iska, Celia, and Axel. So they all got to experience that. After some shenanigans with the Sphere of Winter Wonderlands, and a little bit of I'll call it angst, not happiness by Kel after shenanigans blinding most of the party. Luckily, not permanently, as that was something that everyone saw that Iskrin now can do. Yeah, things got interesting, got a little bit tense, but the party finally did get some rest and got themselves further down Smuggler's Gambit, And as they did so, came upon a couple of choices and trying to figure out the way to, hey, Viridian Knight, $75 donation. Thank you so much for your generosity. And yes, I do know what things that is for. So, yeah, we haven't been plotting. Me and Viridian Knights haven't been plotting at all. Not at all. Not a little bit. Not even a little bit. Nope.
I've never been more suspicious of the two of you.
What's there to be suspicious about, man? What could we possibly be plotting?
I hate you both.
Anyway, so that had happened. They had some decisions in front of them. There was this sort of old suspension bridge. There was also a series of switchbacks, which they discovered had toads on them, having been warned away that toads are bad this time of year. They decided not to go that way. Axel Tunarth donated $35. Need more nat 20. It's a party. We're gonna just die. I know it. I assume that's one for everybody. So that will one more nat 20 around the room for the gang. Thank you so much, and that puts us at $5 of our goal for this month. So that's awesome. Decided to go into a cavern, which turned into a maze. They spent several hours wandering around and mapping said maze, and found their way through the spectrum maze down into this ancient arcane machine left behind by the Zephyr Consortium, which they found out that was actually a teleportation, a sort of brute force type of teleportation, not necessarily using the ley lines as Iskrin is used to doing, but using some other means of forcing your way from point A to point B. Not fun. Everyone took some psychic damage, took a level of exhaustion. But the big thing that happened was Cilia, while that was going on, did not teleport directly as the rest of the party did. She was sort of waylaid. And in this sort of space between spaces. Hey, thanks, Tanya. And that would be a $5 donation and a nat 20 for Tunarth from Tanya. There found a guardian who was very similar to a displacer beast, but larger and having some more deadly things to throw at her, quite literally. And upon her return, while she looked fine, it was just a matter of time until all of that damage caught up with her, and she fell to the ground pretty much bleeding out. Through some heroic healing by our healers in the party, Iska and Tunarth, was able to get her at least patched up. Luna put her within the ring to have a safe place to recuperate. And so you then headed through sort of what turned out to be the outskirts of the Sylvan Expanse, this magically infected wilderness and forest area that you know from a little bit from the Sylvan histories and also from Iskrin's travels, is sort of the magical sort of fallout from the Sylvan War, the giant war that occurred almost 2,000 years ago between the elves and the humans.
Actually, Iska healed Cilia because Kel had all of his magic sucked out of it.
Oh, that's right. That's true. So Iska healed. And through some absolutely some great naturally rolled nat 20s, the party was able to find their way along a pathway, saving them any encounters along the way, and emerged out onto a overlook, looking down into a valley filled with fields that had been cultivated. Not the most abundant or fertile fields they've ever seen, but fields that seem to somewhat slowly being able reclaiming some of the magical area of the Sylvan Expanse. After traveling for about an hour or so, they found themselves traveling next to an orchard and bumped into our friends, the Arbor Leafs, who have, upon seeing Luna's tier of Eldath, who they also are followers of Eldath, invited them into their orchard. And the matron, great-great-grandmother, Juniper, basically called for a feast, invited everyone in, and pretty much the party has been helping out with setup. It is about, at this point, about 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. The sun is still up. The sky is still light as you all have been traveling south, and it is late June in our world. And so, yeah, with that, you guys are looking around you. Some of your friends, new friends, Maple, the first person that you met, the young girl who was sort of enamored with Charlotte and Iska Spider, seems to be pretty much shadowing Iska around. We have Naughty, Nathaniel, who seemed to be quite taken with Luck, has been helping Olivia, another of the older women of this family, set the table, and then were sent off to go and gather fish for the feast. Juniper was speaking with Luna, and Kel as well had come over and had spoken with Juniper as well after her describing a little bit of their family's history. And so you guys look around. As the evening is approaching, Juniper looks to the party, who's haven't quite all run off yet, except for probably Luck. Luck's probably run off a little bit, being pulled by Nathaniel, and saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, where are my manners? You must be tired. If you'd like to freshen up, it's about 2 hours till we eat, but we have some bread and other snacks if you're starving. But please, if you'd like to freshen up, there's water in the cistern and rooms in the barns for people more fitting your stature." And just to remind you guys a little bit, hey, Scroticus! Just to remind you a little bit about where you are. You are sort of in this courtyard. There is sort of a long, low, hey, thanks for the subscription, Scroticus. So sort of a long, low, sort of homestead type place. It is built on gnome scale. You guys could go in, but you'd probably have to duck, especially people like Luck, who are a bit taller. There is the barn, which is over to the other side of this sort of courtyard area, which is actually sort of more of a drying house than necessarily housing animals. There are some goat pens over there, but it is where Ashton assisted with the mounts. I'm sorry, Garrick assisted with the mounts and took them over there. We have sort of the orchards that are all up to the north of you in this area, and in the center of the courtyard you have this large stone that has a basin around the bottom of it where there's water. It is the stone that Axel detected little faint magic from the stone, but nothing of incredible power. But so you guys are free to either continue on with your discussions or freshen up. You all have been on the road. You've been sort of in the canyon. There is some nice bread fresh out of a wood-fired oven that is sort of over sort of an outdoor kitchen area that is located beside the homestead that they have prepared. Some tapenade from the olives of around these trees. You guys can investigate further around the area. You are welcome to talk with the other folks. I turn it over to you guys. As
question.
Yes.
How much longer before Celia's done cooking?
About 2 hours. So about 2 hours until that. For ease of story, I was going to say if you guys just want to say that you spend the next couple hours freshening up and then pop them out, we can do that. That's about the time when the feast will start. But at this point, if Iska, Luck, and Kel have anything specific that they want to do in between, or we can sort of jump cut to you guys freshen up and rest and sort of again, you guys fell into that giant trap. Things are still sort of a mess with your pack. You're welcome to, we can do a quick narrative sort of jump to get to have Iskrin and Cilia out of the ring.
I know that Kel wanted to have a discussion with Juniper, but had already said, he doesn't want to get in the way of preparations or anything, so was going to wait to talk to her afterwards.
Yeah, Juniper...
Or in the morning.
Yeah, Juniper is sort of conducting this whole mass of gnomes. While she's not doing a lot of work herself, and people are making sure that she doesn't have to do a lot of the work, she's certainly the conductor of this preparation effort. So certainly she would speak with you, but she is kind of doing things.
So Kel will take some time to attend to the mounts, make sure they're okay, and it's just, don't put it all on our hosts to take care of our animals. So that's probably what he's going to busy himself with during the amount of time till the feast.
Okay. Iska?
I think for sake of Iskrin and Cilia and getting them into the story too, I think Iska is just taking the time to speak with Maple in this lighthearted, friendly manner. I mean, this is kind of come down for Iska.
Yeah.
Getting away from the party for a second and just kind of seeing that wonder and joy, and just things are safe, things are normal.
Yeah.
For a little bit at least.
Yeah,
and
so
you're gonna enjoy that.
So Maple, sort of as she does, with her hands kind of behind her back, in her little leggings and sort of Baja top, asks you all kinds of questions.
Yeah, I tell the story of the Temple of the Pious Paladin, play that little song. Oh, and I warn her that there's 2 more people coming, and there's this one guy. He shoots glitter everywhere. It's amazing.
What?
And just
like party glitter?
Like party glitter, but he just.
Like Gnarl does? Like Uncle Gnarl does?
Tell me more about Uncle Gnarl. Who's Uncle Gnarl?
He's magic.
What kind of magic does Gnarl do?
Well, he'll probably come out and start lighting all the party lights here in a little bit. And then he does this whole thing where the whole place just sparkles with different types of light. He says it's the fairies. It's the fairy light. And he just spreads it all over the place and everything sparkles.
Is Uncle Gnarl like you? And she points to some identifying feature of the gnome. Okay.
Yeah, he's my
uncle. I can't
uncle.
wait to meet him.
Yeah, and she sort of points him out, and you do see sort of this older gentleman. He has, he's almost garden gnome-like. He kind of has the long beard. He still is very willowy and thinly framed, but he has gray hair. You sort of could see that he's probably just one generation maybe removed from Juniper. He's a little slower. He walks with a stick that is sort of a twisted, almost looks as though it has been an oiled sort of knobby olive branch or olive stick that he kind of uses. And every once in a while you see him lift it up and he'll start pointing, and you hadn't noticed it because it hasn't gotten quite dark enough. You see him pointing up to little objects on the corners of the homestead and around the farm, and you see magical light appear on it as though he's casting the light cantrip around.
Nice.
He's got one ear that's sort of bent down that doesn't quite stick all the way straight up. Probably an orchard accident years ago. Fell out of a tree.
Well, cool. Iska takes note of that. Uncle Gnarl?
That is Uncle Gnarl.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. So yeah, she'll keep note of that and just kind of give at some point too. We'll give others a heads up that there's 2 more of us coming, so to set proper setting and everything.
Yeah, Juniper just, there'll be plenty for all, type idea, and that was Agatha, but that's fine.
Agatha, what are you doing? Okay.
What are you doing here, Agatha?
That's Iska's 2 hours.
Yeah. So Luck, you are guided. Actually, is he frozen? Nope, he's there. Luck, you are guided by Nathaniel, sort of down past the barn, and it's only about 400 yards away. There is sort of what looks like the main irrigation canal there, and you can see about every 50 to 100 feet or so, there's sort of like these wicker fences that go across them, and he kind of explains, he goes, those are the traps. It's fish traps. So the fish don't eat too much. We need the fish to keep the canals clear, but if there's too many of them, they poop too much and it fills up the canal. So we farm them, just like we farm the trees. They're really heavy though, but I bet they're not too heavy for you.
Nope, nothing's too heavy for me.
Nothing? Ooh. I think we lost him.
The only thing too heavy for him was his bandwidth.
Apparently. Yeah, his bandwidth apparently was too heavy.
Not frozen.
Oh, man. We'll jump back to him.
Nothing. Yeah, my bandwidth. Help.
help, my bandwidth.
Make a strength check to pick it up.
Yes. Strength check on your bandwidth.
All right, we got you back.
There you are. So yeah, he's just like, nothing's too heavy for you?
Nope.
Wow. So here's how you use them, and he sort of points down, and there's a handle, and you can see it's actually like long enough where easily 3 or 4 of these gnomes could each get on one to then sort of walk these up. He goes, if you lift up there, and it pulls the basket up. Yeah, it's sort of like a wheel that you would have to turn to roll it up.
Yeah, so like this.
Oh yeah, and it's for you. This is nothing. You don't even have to do a roll for it. Just whoosh, and basket comes to me. You see 3 really big, sort of carp-looking fish in a basket that are ready to take back for cooking. And while he's frozen up, basically you can travel to about 3 more locations like this, getting easily a dozen or so of these channel carp. There's also some eels, for those of you who are familiar with Japanese eels that sort of live in canals like this, which Nadi's like, I like those the best. You put them on the barbecue, and Juniper, she seasons them up, and they're so good. You use like olive and orange spread. And he's just talking to you about everything a mile a minute as you help him harvest all of these fish. So that's what he's up to for about the next 2 hours. So after coming back, we will say it's right about 9 o'clock. Fish are on the grill. Just amazing smells are coming from all these places. So Luna has popped Celia and Iskren out, and you two arrive on the scene just as good old Uncle Gnarl pulls out a kazoo, and you see little instruments begin to pop out from a lot of these different gnomes, and you pop out of the ring into this courtyard. Iskren and Celia, you guys have been seeing some of these preparations taking place, but from that odd angle of inside the ring, so you really didn't realize what was going on. And music has started to play in the background. Some of it seems to be just coming in ethereally, others seems to be by instruments of some of the different gnomes. There are strings of lights and lanterns stretched overhead from the homestead to the barn, and then over to poles by the orchard. The cistern stone. As the night has fallen, you notice there's just a very light blue glow to the cistern stone that is there in the center of the courtyard. the smells of roasting fish, barbecued eel, and all sorts of different dishes, all very savory smelling, using lots of olive and things that you would find in an orchard, just sort of assault you. And there is moonlight is coming in. The fairy lights, you see that now, Iskrin, you would recognize it. Gnarl has basically cast fairy fire across much of the area, so everything sort of has this sort of ethereal glow. And this is the scene that you guys sort of enter in as Kel comes out of the barn. And Iska, you've sort of seen this materializing in front of you, and Luck, somewhat distracted before the band came up, as Noddy was pretty much, Nathaniel was pretty much keeping you busy with feats of strength, pretty much. Can you lift this plow? Can you lift this? How about this? Yeah. And
I don't know which one would get tired of it first, the kid or Luck.
yeah. So, yeah, the table is set. The gnomes have all gathered around. It is your first sort of night of peace. Gosh, and probably since East, if even East, there was things were a bit wild.
So I take it Luna took us out of the ring away from these people, or did they just literally just...
Oh no, Iska had told them that they were coming, and so you sort of just materialize all but in the middle of the thing, and a couple of them sort of do ooh, and with your the materialization, you got Gnarl, who's kind of like, I could have done that.
When they pop out, Iska does point to Ishgrin, points him out to Maple. It's like, that's the glitter guy.
Her eyes light up. She kind of...
Yeah, honestly... Ooh, go on.
I was just saying, she's kind of staring at you from across the way. You have not heard that she is expecting glitter as of yet, but you are being watched carefully.
If you make eye contact with us, Iska's like behind Maple, just going... trying to just charade, like, do a poof, do some kind of poof, come on.
It also takes Ishka a second as he looks around, then he looks down and he's like, oh yeah, that's right. Wow, they look a lot larger within the ring. What's this?
Just do the glitter thing, please. For the child.
To the child?
Not to the...
I teleport to the child, and I put my hand, I teleport in, so like the glitter condenses, and then my hand's just on the shoulder of the little gnome child, and I just look down at the child, then I look up at Iska, and just... No.
Ta-da! She says to me.
Yeah, Maple is still completely enraptured and covered in seeing the blue glitter from across the thing, and she's just like...
Would you like to go back over there?
She sort of looks up to Iska. Is it safe?
It's fine. It's safe. It is safe, right, Ishgrin? It is safe, right?
Ishgrin then has a little look around for any weed quakes. Yeah, so far so good.
It's safe.
And then just takes the child and teleports it over 30 feet away, just from where we were, just the other side of a table.
When
Picks up an apple and gives it to the child.
When you all materialize, she just first just looks enraptured and then just starts to giggle with such delight. She like literally falls on the floor and just rolling around. And she was like, and she makes a point of looking over at where is it? At Rowan, who is the little boy with the mohawk, who was not wanting to have you guys come by at all. And she's like, I told you so. See? That's why you make friends. She gives him a poke.
Oh, the shade of it all.
So yeah, you guys have the evening. Juniper starts to sort of gather people around to sit at the table, and you see everyone sort of takes their place. Music is happening around you. The table is a little bit on the small side for you guys, but it's not so much so that you guys can't make do. Or a lot of the gnomes are sort of hovering as well. It's kind of like very backyard evening barbecue. There is a sort of sweet date wine that is being passed around. That seems to be like almost like a spiced wine, but it is chilled. And the evening continues on.
There is a cup of wine poured, is taken over to Celia, and it's just placed there in front of her, by her. Well, not by her, but for her. And then there's a bite on some grapes, or whatever food's just currently available.
Yeah, lots of more olives, dates, those types of things. Not so much grapes that you've seen so far. A lot of these are sort of your drier fruits and stuff. Again, there's a delicious looking fish dish with sort of an olive tapenade across it. There are, I don't know if you guys know what they are. Do you all know what a kumquat is? It's basically like a little miniature orange that you can pop in your mouth all at once. These sort of dates, figs, things along those things. As again, the soil here is not particularly great, but the arbor leaves seem to have a knack, whereas most other the crops around here are sort of smaller, turnips, cabbage type thing. That the arbor leaves have made quite an orchard here of sort of the more savory items that you can have to eat.
Ishrin doesn't sit on a chair at this point either. He's a little excited just watching the gnomes run around. So he literally sits on the table by Celia, and he's actually in more of radar mode. So his eyes continuously scan around. He's a little paranoid.
What are you looking for? Do you mean, yeah.
He's ever since coming out of the ring, since there's an extra dimensional plane as well, and since Celia fell into one as well, he's just being a little extra cautious about,
Now kind of perception, please.
Pardon?
Are you looking at the weave, or are you just perceiving the natural world?
Both.
Okay, so give me a perception check as well.
Okay.
The weave here does seem to be fairly normal. As the night has gone on, you have noticed there seems to be a gathering of magic within this large stone that is in the basin in the middle of the courtyard. Nothing major, just a sort of low-grade enchantment that seems to be on the stone, and you've noticed that it's, ever since the sun went down, it seems to be building a little bit as the evening begins to creep in.
Okay, so like it gets thicker within the weave and grows in power.
Yeah. Whereas when you were in the ring, so you weren't able to perceive it when you first came in. But Axel would tell you when he first arrived that he sort of did an Arcana check on it. And while there were a few markings on it, it just seemed like it was very low level type thing. And you've noticed even we'll say about the hour as you guys are eating and the festivities are starting to unravel and pick up a little bit more, you've noticed that the stone seems to becoming more, channeling more and more of the weave. And I'd say with your 16, I'll even say it seems to be along the lines of cold or frost.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When all of my spell slots got drained, and does that mean, even though they're not technically spells, I can also not do any cantrips at this point? Or can I still manage?
Yeah, we'll say that you can still manage a cantrip. Yeah.
Okay. The only reason I asked is because I just wanted to have Kel, as people are coming to the tables and doing some final, everybody gathering, he would have tried to think, looking around at, all of the trees here, of trees that are in his forest that aren't here.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of unique leaf that they will not have seen before, and use Druidcraft to create the falling leaves with those leaves, and then gather them together as decoration for their tables.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see, who haven't you met? You notice next to Gnarl there is another older gnome, female. Not as old as Juniper is. She has her hair tightly up in a bun on her head. Her hair is still somewhat still has sort of a color to it, but it is silvering as well. Hers has sort of shocks of red still sort of left in it somewhat, but mainly gone gray at this point. And she seems to have been helping around Gnarl. And Gnarl, when some of these, he notices the sort of centerpieces that you've been making. He didn't pick up on the when you first conjured them, and he sort of lifts up one of them and looks to him and goes, "Connie, have you ever seen leaf like that?" And she grabs it and she pulls some little glasses out, puts them on the end of her nose and looks at them and starts examining them. And she sort of looks around. She goes, this isn't from around here. And she's sort of looking, where'd this come from? Sort of asking the table.
Oh, that would be me. I wanted to add to the decoration. These are leaves from the trees that are in my forest, far to the north.
And she looks at you and she goes, much in the same way that Juniper had of a druid. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
You're from the other side of the continent.
Yes, I am. Far to the north from here.
It's an honor to have you at our table. And she sort of lifts the glass. And she's been kicking these back pretty good. Yeah. We'll say that you guys are at the table for about an hour or so, and everyone sort of starts getting a little more jubilant. The festivities are going on, and you guys begin to notice at first just sort of in the lights and lanterns up on the strings, and some of the fairy fire that is in the thing begin to almost start to glow a little bit more brightly, as though they're sort of refracting off of more and more. And none of the arbor leaves seem to be reacting it too much, but give me a perception check or nature check, whichever one you would like to use.
Everybody, or just Cal?
No, everybody. You all are sort of seeing this happening.
Can I say throughout dinner as well, I'm just using some prestidigitation just to like create some little magical lights and just be like, here, have a bird.
Oh, no,
Like,
absolutely.
create a
And
magical blue bird in hand.
all the little kids are just enthralled. You have gathered quite a crowd around you. The kids aren't staying at their plates. You have... Maple seems to be very much has decided that she is in charge of access to you, Iskrin, and has very much all but made them stand in line. As many of the kids would crowd forward, and some would try to get 2 birds or try to get you to do 2 tricks for them. And so she's got them all organized so that they are in a line. Ashton's kind of pouting in the corner. He is not going to give her the satisfaction, but boy... is he ever watching what's going on there?
You mean-
Iska sees this and nudges
You mean
Luna.
Rowan?
Yeah, Rowan.
I'm sorry, Rowan.
Iska sees this and nudges Luna and points to Maple and just like, so that's what you do, huh? That's what that's like? That's what it's like to be a manager, huh?
And Luna's, yes. With that long, sort of exasperated side.
I then get into the idea of being like, well, if you want to know a bit more about my magic, and then I conjure up an image through prestidigitation, the 7 cradles, and just start to go into a little bit of a spiel about the Frostbreath
And
and the extra dimensional cosmos, and telling them about the seers and
Oh, don't give the kids an accidental crisis.
Read the crowd. Read the crowd. They're children.
As you can see, most beings of the multiverse that you call deities or gods are not benevolent. Because if you're pure good, you're not pure evil. Because no pure good, no suffering.
It's good. It took me ages to get this. And I'm a grown man.
I've been grown man multiple times. Wait, no I haven't. I've been a grown elf multiple times. Wait, I don't grow.
and on that, Iskrim blows his own mind. But
I just apparate.
we'll say Luck and Iska with your perception checks. You're able. There is fog. Seems to be rolling in, sort of across this across the landscape. Slowly, you realize that you're not able to see like the fence out by the road anymore. Through the trees where before you could sort of see all the way down the rows of trees, you only can see about halfway down as sort of what first is a light fog, but definitely seems to be getting heavier, is rolling in to the area.
I guess just ask someone at the table nearby, is this normal for this time of year? Is this, as she points to like the fog rolling in?
And let's see, Maple's taken away. I would say Olivia is there, and she goes, "Oh yes, dear. That's how. That's how the valley works. This is Misty Moon Valley." And she points then to this stone, and you'll see that water is condensing on the outside of it that then is running down, even though this very light fog. So she goes, the stones, they pull the water from the air and we gather it. There's not local water in the area. Everything comes from the air, from the fog.
And in lieu of role-playing it, I'm just going to say that Axel probably asks a billion questions about the magic that takes water from fog and condenses it.
Actually, Axel probably figures it out pretty quickly, and which certainly with Iskrin's help. Basically, it's like a cold glass. The stone from the moonlight activates this enchantment that chills the stone, and so basically the moisture in the air, the fog, starts to condense more heavily upon it. And so, them talking to you, she's just like, everything here, it grows on the fog. That's how we survive.
Do rains not come by, or just not enough?
Every once in a while, but for the most part, the fog all year round fills the valley. The elves used to call this valley the Silver Sea because it would fill every night with fog and reflect off the moonlight, reflect off it. Looked like a sea. Later, we'll show you the real treat as it flows up over the plateau. It's quite beautiful, like a waterfall running the opposite direction. A few more hours, then Nal can open up a spot in the fog so we'll be able to see through. The children all love it. And at that, Olivia looks over to another lady who's been fairly quiet this whole time. Again, a gnome, more blondish hair. She wears it sort of just loose and short. Actually, she probably has the shortest hair of any, even though many of them have open buns, so it sort of appears short. But hers seems to be chopped short. And Olivia sort of looks over and just goes, "So, Amberlyn, are you going to ask her, or are you just going to sit there?" And Amberlyn looks very shy. And Olivia nudges you on your arm and goes, "She's been looking at your violin all night, dear. She plays the flute. Will you play us something?"
Yeah, of course, but only if Amberlyn, was it?
Sort of shyly. Yes, yeah.
Only if you'll join me.
I only know a few songs, but okay. And so music has a way of traveling around, and she goes, "Do you know Riverland Air?"
Do I know Riverland Air?
Yes, you do.
Of course I do. It's one of my favorites. Why don't you get us started, and I'll follow your lead.
And so you guys begin to play. One of and memories come flowing back to Iska of her playing back home in Highmount and with her old band as one of her songs that she used to play with all of her old friends. Begins to plucked out by the different folks with their instruments. I'd like to thank our buddy Tunarth, who has composed many of our songs for the evening. So anyway, so Iska's off playing. I won't make you do a performance check, but tell us a little bit about what's going through your head, Iska.
Right now?
Yeah. As the music and this night and songs from home start to...
It's a reminder, man. It's these memories come rushing back of playing all the way back in her home village at festivals just like this one. This isn't something she's been able to experience or even think about since before the campaign started. This is it's that nostalgia that makes you sad, but you're kind of happy about that you feel sad because you still have those memories there. It's just, I don't know, she just starts to think back to those people she used to play with, and now she's with these people. with this new family, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But she can't let go of the old one either. And man, maybe that actually like starts to get into her mind that she hadn't thought about that old band in so long and didn't realize how to appreciate moments like that until everything she's been through with this new band of people she's been traveling with.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's happy nostalgia tinged with an air of sadness.
Everyone sort of stops to listen a little bit, but this conversation does, after starting to play, does continue around. Cecilia, what have you been up to as the evening's gone on and you've come out of the ring after coming from such a dark place just hours ago, now to this being juxtaposed against it?
So Celia would have walked away a little bit from the party and pulled her ring of the Reaver,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of look at it and say, fight me when I'm at my best. Take me back.
The ring just sort of glows there. You know, it's this black ring, but there's always sort of like this iridescent glow to it. And it just sort of, as you flip it, kind of, I pressed the wrong button. As you kind of flip it around, it kind of almost looks at you like an eye, like it's watching and waiting, perhaps. But nothing occurs. I was gonna say, Iska decides to pick up the pace a little bit and asks Amberlynn if she knows Steppin' Tall, and so they start picking up the pace a little bit, and there's a little bit of a yeehaw and some happiness coming from the crowd as Iska starts to do what Iska does best. Get the party started. Remind this group that there's still some light in the world.
As that goes on and the music starts to jam, Ishkin stops entertaining the children and picks up the hint. Well, in his own mind. But he then goes and searches for Celia. Tries to find her. And then
I would say, unless you're like trying to stealth, that he can find you pretty easily, Celia. Yeah. Yeah. She's off in the corner, sort of looking at her ring.
I literally go over, grab her hand, say, "Ring later, dance now," and teleport Hob back to him and start the dance. So it's just psh, 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 psh.
So yeah, leaving a trail of blue glitter, which brings all kinds of cheers from the gnomes, especially the children, who seem to like be running behind you, sort of trying to dive through sort of the glitter bombs that are left behind. You guys end up on the dance floor and start to do some stepping tall.
We had a wonderful dance. Eventually, I teleport us onto the table and try to sling in some of the other gnomes into the dance as well. But I keep on forgetting that they're very small, so Ishrin doesn't know how to dance with them.
Yeah.
So he waits for Celia to lead, and then we'll like pull Luck in as well.
Yeah.
One by one, wrapping everyone.
Like kids at a wedding, for the most part, they just start, the kids certainly all get into this and start jiving around and just doing spins and other types of stuff. A couple of the couples who you think are, husband and wife or parents, start to get out there and dance a little bit, depending on the song. And yeah, it's just sort of general revelry. As the songs go on, the fog does get thicker and thicker. More wine and drink goes around. Luck, you have noticed Connie's keeping pace with you on this date wine, this sort of sweet date and fruit wine, almost sangria kind of like idea, and you kind of find yourselves across the table from each other, pretty much going drink for drink at this point. She doesn't realize she's dealing with an old man. She thinks she's got some young kid type idea. So tell us a little bit about you and Connie.
So it's sort of like looks probably like, I don't know if he's still got like Notty's attention during this, and he's halfway through this like a one of his rambling stories. So as we were turning round through the tunnel.
Yeah, Naughty has Naughty basically after story 2 and there was glitter and dancing kind of did the side step off, did the get away from the adult telling a boring story move since you were no longer lifting things.
No, and he's like
I mean, it's my car. I'll be back.
Okay.
So look is like so it sort of as he slides off, looks sort of just sort of sips, sees his opponent sitting there, and he goes, "Your move."
Oh, and Connie's just like, and she looks over her shoulder and goes to Garrick, just like, bring the pitcher. With the mom tone, Garrick hops to, as this probably is like a son of hers, or certainly a generation younger, and a big pitcher of big pitcher gets put in front of you, and she kind of cracks her knuckles, pours, and it's on. How far are you going to take this?
Until one of us concedes defeat or one of us is laying on the ground.
Okay. Roll me a con save.
I have them. I'm going to spend a nat 20 for this.
Okay. Well, she rolled a natural 18, so that's a 24. So, yeah, that first pitcher, without even a blink, and she was like, we need to move this to a serious location, and she sort of walks over. She sort of grabs you and takes you over where you find what probably is like a watering trough that is filled with this wine and fruit. And she just plops down next to it. She plops a table between the two of you guys. There's really not a seat for you, so you probably get to sit on the ground. But yeah, Connie is having none of your business. I'm 300 years old, son.
I may not look it, but I've got more under my belt than I first seems.
Roll me another con save as you go through the next pitcher.
Come on. Oh.
She gets a little bit wobbly after that one, and she goes, "Now pace yourself, boy. We're here all night." Give me one more con save.
Can't keep up, old lady.
Oh yeah, with that. Oh, and with that, Connie, she kind of looks at you, kind of pats you on your cheek. That's a good boy, and she kind of stumbles off. and sort of leaves you. You get a harsh look from Juniper. She kind of points. She kind of points her stick at you. and but then she gives you a smile and a wink, and Iska, you want to play Twists and Turns?
Oh yeah, I've moved beyond that. Oh, I miss these people, and I'm now just like reveling in the joy of their memory, and I really want to bring their memory to life with Twists and Turns. So let's get this party started.
Yep. So you get your old "Let's Get the Dancing Started" song on of Twists and Turns, and the song that just gets faster and faster. These kids who have been out there spinning and dancing, you want to see what they can do, and so and it's Amberlin gives you a wink as soon as you start it, and she knows this one. She dives in. You actually see old Gnarl pull out his kazoo. He's gonna get in on this, and Ashton starts to sort of drum on the table, knowing what's going on, as the dance floor starts spinning. Iskren, you gonna try to keep up?
Yeah.
So yeah, this starts going pretty slow, and you're kind of like, what's all the noise about this? Why would everyone cheer so much?
It's like, there's honestly like a head tilt. So
Yeah.
This guy's like,
So you can do me a dexterity saving throw with advantage. I need to roll one for. Anyone got Celia's sheet up, or I can bring it up.
yay. Oh, I'm really good. I catch on real quick.
Well, yeah.
Sometimes.
It's kind of slow at this point, but both of you with advantage on this one with a 16. Actually, Celia's a little bit distracted, and while she is very, very stealthy, trying to dance with someone else gets a little bit more difficult. Especially Iskren is not necessarily knowing any of her formalized steps that she might know.
I keep stepping on her toes.
Yeah, as the music speeds up, the kids start spinning more and more. You see more people going out there, kind of getting their kick on out there with the evening. And as the next speed up happens, go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw. This time, just normal.
I can pull up my.
Oh, so between you and Celia, you kind of get caught up in some of the kids, and kind of end up you don't quite fall over. You actually have to catch Celia so that she doesn't bust ass and recover on it. But yeah, the floor is getting crowded. But yeah, Celia, seeing this, tell us a little bit about where you are, Celia. Are you even here anymore? Or are you elsewhere in your mind?
Jeanette's gone.
Jeanette's driving.
She's on her way back home.
I'm sorry, Iska.
Oh, okay. Oh no,
I'm sorry. I totally. Well, it's because I've got my things messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, no Iska. Yeah.
I've got my eyes on Iskren and Celia right now, and I am determined just to try to trip him up as best I can. So if we keep going and they keep dancing, I'm going to use a bardic inspiration for Celia next turn in the hope that she recovers. Okay.
So we're still about midway through the song, so go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw standard, and I'm going to do dexterity, and you're a D8 in case she needs it.
With the massive weight behind Iskren because of Lyle and the awkward size and how crowded it's getting, he's trying not to kill little gnomes as the point of the pressing blade. Quite sharp, quite deadly. Not trying to impale kids. As he was realizing, oh crap, oh no, this is bad. After seeing Celia nearly hit the deck at one point, and then just trips himself up.
Iska looks at you and it's kind of like, you doing this? We going? You see it's getting faster. Okay, dexterity at disadvantage as Iska's pouring it on. I need a performance check from you as well, Iska. You know this song, so I'll give you advantage.
Can I use a spell to help?
You can certainly try.
Alright, as a bonus action, as I wave my hands and start talking in a mix of garbled, draconic, sylvan, and celestial, I cast Expeditious Retreat and begin to start moving with much more brisker pace.
Okay. I will give you advantage on this then. So you're not... Or no, I'll get you flat, so you're not disadvantaged.
Ha!
So on a flat with a 9, even with Expeditious Retreat, Celia ends up with a 20. She stays on her feet, but as the song comes to its climax, Iskrin, you are left in the dust. And so Celia, Iska, you have won. How do you celebrate your victory other than just going faster?
Oh no, she's like moving now and like skipping to her own song and just basically like right over Iskrin, just like fiddling directly like above him, and now kind of just dancing with Celia in his stead.
And with that, whoosh,
he
the song
slowly pushes himself up and just stares and enjoys the sight. Just concedes to the fate.
And when she's done, she will reach a hand down to him to help him back to his feet.
And with that, we'll let you sort of turn it back over to the house band, so to speak. And whoops, not that house band, that house band. Yeah.
Actually, I do want to ask because I'm curious.
Yeah.
How's Kel? Like, what's his demeanor throughout this entire thing? And actually, I'll ask the same. Like, just tell me about Axel too, because like both of them have been on the forefront of our minds for this entire trip. So now that we're in a place of safety, I'm curious about how they condone themselves in an atmosphere like this.
I'll let you go first, Cal.
Kel is remaining quiet. He's got a bit of a faraway look. Looks like he may be caught up in some memories of his own. There's a sadness on his face. He's, you've been around him enough to probably see that he's, trying to present, happy or at least content, but he's clearly not to you.
I think Axel, Axel is very much at this point. I think all of this excitement, new things, new people, hearing the music. I don't want to speak too much for Templar while he's not here, but I think that he is probably so interested in the Cistern Stone, this new place, the idea, having read about this valley in the Sylvan histories, that it's known as that was known as the Silver Sea, and he's probably interested in maybe even assisting Gnarl later tonight so that he can see the plateau and see what they're talking about with when basically the tide rises over the plateau. The fog has gotten much denser at this point. Light barely, just without the lights of all of the spells around, everything sort of has this ethereal glow to it about the evening. Everything, also with some haze of alcohol and good times of release. You do finally see, after the big dance, Gnarl sort of goes, looks to the kids and kind of gathers them around. It's like, "Shall we open the sky? Shall we open the sky?" And they all, "Oh yeah." And you feel as a breeze begins to blow around you and sort of pokes a hole through the fog above you. And there to the south west, you can see the moon shining down, and you can see what looks like almost a tide of silver clouds sort of lapping up against the plateau until finally, as it gets higher and higher, almost like a giant updraft picks it, and you see it all flow up and over until the entire plateau just looks like as though it were a rock underneath of a stream, as the fog finally crests over top of it and then covers the entire plateau of Falcon's Crest in just this mist and moonlight as it flows across the plateau. And as the kids watch and Gnarl does that, Garrick, who had helped out with the mounts, sort of sits down where the party is kind of gathered a little bit together and goes, "So, you're not the normal kind of traders who come this way, and you're certainly on Son of Gambit Pass's mounts down from Jubilee Stables. So who are you? What are you doing here?" He just sort of asks generally to the party.
I think Iska looks around, trying to get the sense from the others, like how much we're willing to share right now, how open we want to be.
Would you believe if I said a man in his 50s?
He kind of laughs and he goes, "Would you believe a gnome in his 150s? And he seems like just a little bit older than the kids in your eyes. So what are you up to, you lot?
We're all headed to Falcon's Crest for a myriad of reasons, really. But getting there is our ultimate goal.
So, which way are you going? Do you know your way?
There's more than one way to Falcon's Crest, is there?
My first time in the sphere, I had no idea.
Yes, there. Well, yes, there's lots of ways to Falcon's Crest, in fact. It's all depends on what your business in, and he looks around and who you are, or what you're willing to pay. But I will tell you, gold doesn't buy you as much as influence done in Falcon's Crest, or on your way to get there.
So, how do folks who come through this pass typically get there? Those traders, as you call them.
Well, usually, with mounts loaded to nearly falling over, they head down through Pebblebrook, where they'll turn in the mounts at the Gambit Pass stables, and depending, again, on who they're connected with, they'll go to the North Lift at Windstone Village. Others will go around to the Eastern Lifts at Greymont. And not many who travel this way. You could always go to the Sentinel Lifts right at Falcon's Crest that go directly into the city.
Let's say we were in a hurry.
Well, everyone's in a hurry, aren't they?
What if we were in a even more of a hurry than others?
Well, so I'm going to move you guys over the map just because I can talk you through this to make it a little bit easier.
Sweet.
Map.
And can even say that Luna maybe pulls her map out.
It's
Music.
the map. It's the map. It's the.
Oh, good. It's just the world map, not a
No, wait
combat
for it.
map.
Yeah. Not a combat map.
As soon as you said maps, like I knew it.
So all the gnomes pull out their daggers.
Oh, there's only one place you're going in a hurry, and that's to hell. He draws his sword.
So, are you guys can all see it?
Yeah.
So, basically, where you guys are, or it's a red dot. The red line is where you traveled. Best you can tell, the dot halfway through is where the machine was that teleported you down. So, I know, Kelly, you were asking. You basically are here where you were looking. Whoops, let me do it this way. You were looking basically at the plateau right across here is kind of what you're seeing to your southwest. So Luna unrolling her sort of map of this area, you see...
I see why I was confused last week. I thought we were a lot farther south than we actually are.
Yeah. So Garrick sort of traces a line and says, well, from here you can take, you go straight down the road you were on, which will lead you to Pebblebrook. At Pebblebrook, you can either go try your luck at the North Lift at Windstone Village. It's about 1 day to Pebblebrook, another day to Windstone. Once you can get on the lift and up it, which is not guaranteed, Lower Windstone Village leads to Upper, the other side of the village, basically. And then it's 3 days across the top of the plateau, past Raven Rock Vineyards, on to Falcon's Crest.
So that's one way.
At the crossroads, you could also head south. That takes you down to the Crossroads Cistern. There, you can turn to your west, which will take you to Greymont, the old stronghold and fortress of the Greymonts, the Viceroys, the King's family. Those are the eastern lifts. Those are sort of thought of as the public lifts. There's 3 there instead of just 1. Once you get to the top, it's about a day, a long day, but a day, that will take you in to Falcon's Crest. Or you can keep going south. That would then takes you down to the main road, right to below Falcon's Crest to the Sentinel Lifts, which lead you directly into town. Or you can continue on the road all the way around into Falcon's Crest. Each have their... It's all about the lifts, you see. If it was just travel time, certainly the quickest way would be the northern lifts, but they're controlled by... All of the lifts are controlled by the Lift Guild, the Updraft Brotherhood.
Go on.
Lifts are tightly scheduled, zealously run. They could work... They'll tell you they could work you in, but personally, we don't take our goods that way. You can wait days sometimes, as others are given priority in front of you, and there's just a single lift there. But you can get lucky or use your influence to get yourself up quicker, but that's always an option. And then you have to travel across the top of the plateau, past Raven Rock Vineyards.
But if we were people of great importance, perhaps the Updraft Brotherhood, you called them, would give us a little leeway in terms of timing?
Well, depends on who you're important to. If you're truly very important people, the Sentinel lifts, which is done for the Viceroy's personal business, are guaranteed up, but you'll have to prove who you are.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Luna would be all over this.
Yeah.
So, the Eastern lifts are guaranteed, but they're fair. They're run by the Talon Guard as well as the Lift Guild. And the only trick is that during harvest or near celebrations, you can wait up to 3 to 5 days to get a spot on the lift. There's inns there and transfer yards if you were carrying goods. But for... Yes.
So the Eastern lifts to us, as we have another player joining us, I think. There we go.
Woohoo!
Maybe?
We have a blank screen, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey!
Welcome to
Ta-da!
blank screen.
Ah, she's there.
Welcome, welcome.
Hi.
We're
Perfect
talking about
time.
maps, so...
And perhaps gaining access to lifts because we are or are with somebody of importance.
Ah.
I need my manager.
Well, my client needs adjusting.
So here's the thing that we just covered. The Eastern ones are the ones you were just referring to, right, Tall Squall?
The Eastern lifts are the public lifts.
So, but those are busy during times of harvest or times of great celebration when they're importing a bunch of stuff. And
Right.
as we're coming up to this big celebration, it seems like those are going to be
Pretty
absolutely
busy.
clogged. So those seem off the table to me.
And they're run by the Lift Mafia.
Well, all the lifts are run by the Lift Mafia. But it's just who has the main control. The Sentinel lifts at Falcon's Crest, which is the Viceroy's, are basically the Viceroys, or for official business of the Sentinel Council and the embassies, are right at Falcon's Crest. Like I say, the lifts at Greymont are sort of the public lifts, but they're the public lifts, and people bringing their harvest, bringing in their goods, and literally, queue times are measured in days, if not longer. The northern lifts are pretty much the guild lifts, and are pretty much controlled by the guild, the mob. They have more control there because it's so far away from the actual city. Let me get back into role, please, so you guys can actually have conversations with us. There's lots of fun stuff lots of things that you could glean. So, but a lot of people just take the road because they know that they'll get there. Your general travel times, it's 2 days to Windstone, however it longs to take you to get a spot on a lift. About a half a day lift is how it takes. And then 3 days across the top of the plateau. The Eastern lifts, it's about 4 days to get to Greymont. And then 2 days to Falcon's Crest from the Eastern lifts. And then the Sentinel lifts, 7 days to get to there. But they drop you literally right in the city. 10 days to go all the way around from here.
Garrick, this is completely out of nowhere and may lead to nothing. But do any of these paths go below ground at all? Or does the phrase Lachesis bargain mean anything to you?
He just shakes his head. No.
Perfectly fair. Anyways.
Yeah. Everything's rock. around here. There's not a lot of below ground to get to.
It was a long shot. I'm just asking questions. I
Okay.
appreciate this conversation. I truly do.
Oop.
Hey, and Jeanette.
And a Jeanette.
I'm back. I have something that y'all haven't seen yet.
What do you have?
I'm a unicorn!
What is the least stealthy thing you could be wearing?
The unicorn wants his stealth. It would work wonderfully in the cosmos.
What in the world is happening to this?
Celia, we are currently discussing lifts. Going up and down and traveling all around.
So yeah, there's lots of options to get yourself. Yeah, I'll let you the conversation go if someone wants to fill folks out. I've got to try to get my background set up. Something happened.
Sure, and I wish I took better notes. Basically, it seems like we have 4 different ways to get into Falcon's Crest. The first is the northern lifts, which we will travel across the plateau to get in there, which seems like that might be the shortest way, if I'm remembering the days correctly.
Yes, the days it is the shortest, but you've got to get on the lift.
And the only way to get on there is maybe to throw around our names, or if we were people of great importance or renown. And we do have, invitations, and I've got the Arcana Mystica stash. So,
And again, this is keep going.
there's that one. There are eastern lifts that are going to be clogged, absolutely clogged, with farmers bringing in harvest and people bringing in stuff for the celebration. So I think those are off the table. The Sentinel lifts, which go directly into the city. What was the downfall of that again, Garrick?
But that's the Viceroy's lifts. It's the Sentinel Council and the embassy's private lifts. But if you've got credentials that will pass muster, that is your best bet. Like I say, it depends on who you are to whom. If you have connections with most of the people who travel this route, your northern lift is probably your best bet. If you've got connections within the hierarchy of Falcon's Crest itself, the embassy lifts, perhaps. But you're only guaranteed, if you want to take a lift, is going to be through Greymont.
Well, technically, I am an embassy from the Cradles. I wonder if that will... That probably won't work. Luna, can you please stop judging me? My finger's fine now, too. Thank you.
So, I think it's, always, different people use different ways to get to the top. Certainly, those, when you're a visitor around the area, each way is going to be a little bit of a challenge, depending on what you're doing. I mean, going to Greymont, again, it sounds as though you're not interested, but you'll have to pass through the First Fields Alliance, all of their farms, which can get interesting, but not impossible. Across the top, you'll be passing through the Raven Rock vineyards, controlled by the Stone Druids. And then, of course,
Kel kind of reacts at the mention of Stone Druids.
yes. Well, you're a druid. You would know about. Maybe not.
Would I?
No, you would not. You've never even heard someone refer to someone as a stone druid before.
I'm from the far north. I have not heard of stone druids before.
They've been here for as long as Falcon's Crest, if not longer. They have the vineyard up there. There's a very secretive group. But there's the only way that things can grow up on top of the plateau. There's no soil.
Kel kind of gets a look on his face and gets instantly lost in thought.
So you say we have to pass through them, but are they territorial? Do they...
There's just very little place to stay, and you'll be exposed up on the plateau at night. You'll be camping out. It gets very cold, and as you saw, when the fog rolls across, it's very uncomfortable.
Are there many of the elves around the Falamega? Do they still reside around the region of Falcon's Crest? Long old tales, my friend.
Yeah, he sort of looks at you, and he goes, people haven't used that term for quite some time. I mean, they all, in a way, do. Many of the half-elves are descendants of those who were brought and stayed after the Sylvan War. I'm sure there must be maybe some elves who are actual elves, full-blooded elves who are descendants of the Failmegar. Let me get it up so I can say it right. Yes, the Failmegar. But they don't. Not many refer to themselves that way any longer. It's been 2,000 years, if the stories are to be believed.
Well, I guess. If you could believe such crazy shenanigans going blind out of nowhere. And he just gives him a quiet smirk.
He kind of looks at you weirdly.
He doesn't pick up on the social cues from the rest of the party.
But
no, that's interesting. I might, if we get there, I might ask some of the half-elves or elves if I ever see some there. But just picking up some old stories. His eyes kind of shine a little bit brighter, and then they just descend.
He sort of shakes his head and looks around at the rest of you. I'm happy to help however I can to get you pointed in the right direction.
Well, what about this Talon Guard, sir? Is it mostly made up of humans? Is it the local enforcement?
The Talon Guard is the military force of Falcon's Crest. They keep the peace. They find patrols all around here in the valley, and certainly around the lifts. Break up any quarrels. Take people to any arrests that might need to happen. Transport criminals to the hanging cells, if that is the case, if that so need be.
Hanging cells. Well, that's one way we could get in, looking at Luna. Ishran more like looks at her just to confirm that he might do something, and that might be one way to lock it. Yeah.
It's good. Just just stuck.
Okay.
You have other fingers.
9 of them.
No, that's toes.
No, you have 9 of the fingers.
But it's healed. I was in the ring. Here you go, Lena.
Just pushes the hand away.
Looks Cecilia in amazement.
You haven't done anything yet.
Not that you know of. So what should we do? Should we go to the northern? Should we try that in the morning? Asking the group.
Sorry, just a little bit of clarification. When it says need connections to people around here, is that also referring to people around? I'm referring to the Zoom chat. People around Falcon's Crest, or like which area is that referring to?
So, just to clarify, it was if we use the embassy lifts, we need connections from inside of Falcon's Crest, or need to show some sort of connections, right? And if we want to use the northern ones, we might need connections from like the land outside of Falcon's Crest. Is that correct? Like.
You can ask Garrick for clarification.
So Garrick, tell me more about these connections that we might need to use the list, and be, if you could, very specific before you start describing.
Do me a persuasion. Do me a persuasion check.
A persuasion check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh. On a 17, and he sort of leans in, and he goes, well, you're not from around here, obviously, but and he sort of looks, he almost looks very warily around. Most who travel are carrying either things that they don't want in the city or don't want to pay for the tariffs that might be on those goods. There are whispers, if you ask, that specifically the North Lift, and probably all of them, but they're too closely watched, as the Updraft Brotherhood takes care of all of them. But certainly keeping the peace at Greymont and at the Sentinel Lifts is more in the Viceroy's interest than necessarily at the North Lift. It is said that the Masked Dragon Syndicate runs the Northern Lift.
Does this syndicate have ties to the same dragon syndicates on the other side of the Midnight Wheel?
He kind of looks at you. There's other groups?
Axel would be reacting to this, don't you think?
He super would.
If one of you guys want to roleplay Axel, go at it.
That sounds like a bird mission.
Balls. Excuse me. The Masked Dragon Syndicate? Who are the Masked Dragon Syndicate? What are they?
Well, they... pretty much anything illegal that happens in Falcon's Crest or around here is controlled by them. They are highly organized. They are in every facet of society, and as their name suggests, you never quite know who they are. Silly Nope, never mind. You
No?
wouldn't. Yeah. I was thinking for a second maybe, but no. Give me a history, just give it a try. I'm going to make you roll it, though. You can't use an at 20 on it.
Oh god. Okay.
The tension is killing me.
Throw them bones. Yeah.
On a 22,
I almost not 20.
yeah, the Obsidian Order, when they sent you out towards to help cull the Dragonflight syndicates over on the Dragongust Plains, it was with secrecy and somewhat of trepidation, because while the Dragonflight Syndicate is very much, the Dragonflight Syndicates over on the west are very much road gangs. The Obsidian Orders knows that the organized crime, the organized society that delves throughout the eastern continent is the Masked Dragon. And that they are, I mean, it's the equivalent of a street gang to, the Yakuza or the Mafia type idea, is the difference between the Masked Dragon and the Dragonflight Syndicates. They still fight against each other. They're still very territorial, the Dragonflight Syndicates, whereas everyone is under one banner for the Masked Dragon in the east.
Well, she's not gonna relay that to them right now. She will do that later.
Good call.
She will wait. She will just kind of listen, and whenever our friend walks away or we walk away, then she will relay that information to the party.
Okay.
So the Masked Dragon, is Falcon's Crest their home base? Is that where they run this from?
Well, I'm not sure if it's centralized. I mean, that's why they've never been rooted out, but certainly Windstone Village, which is where the Northern lifts. It's the old Windstone Village is where the Zephyr Consortium constructed the airships back when they were still flying a century ago. There's still some of the remnants of the old hangars and construction sites there, but that's what the North Lifts were used for. And Windstone Village was the heart of the airship industry before it collapsed. Because of its location on the northern side of the plateau, it made most sense, specifically when heading across the Midnight Wheel. But they pretty much are known. You step lightly around Windstone Village. Certainly, honest workers, honest businessmen use those lifts. They've ingratiated themselves or have paid the price. Or have connections in some way, but as far as a guaranteed ride, 7-10 seasons ago, I sat a week before finally giving up, thinking that with a crop that I wanted to get there fast. It's a roll of the dice, whether you can get yourself passage.
Did it have any magical defense there?
well, the Talon God uses those lifts as well. I'm sure with a smile and a nod. And in general, around Falcon's Crest and around the plateau, still is largely Sylvanstone, and you still have one of the large enclaves of the gargoyles there.
But is spellcasting regulated through here?
Not regulated, but you don't want to. If you start slinging spells,
Oh no, of course not.
you will get arrested and find yourselves in the hanging cells.
That sounds like something I've done before.
And the gargoyle masters will, for sure, locate you.
I'd like to see the gargoyles. They look cool. That sounds
Oh, if you go up the lifts, you'll see them. Tens of thousands of them. It was the air defense for Falcon's Crest.
I don't want to speak too heavily to his characters. I don't know how he wants to play it, but probably any talk of going so close to something called the Masked Dragon Syndicate is gonna like have Axel's like hairs like kind of standing on point, just because he hates bandits so much, and they can dress themselves up and call themselves whatever name they want to, but they're still bandits to him.
We never did take a break. Do we want to take a quick break? Also, if you guys want to do some discussion, mainly because I need to go pay my lawn people who are right outside right now, and I just need to run them an envelope real quick. If y'all will tell them about the station and everything, that would be great, and I will be right back.
Alright, hello lovely viewers. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. This channel is run 100% for charity, and the charities change every month. This month's charity is the Ovarian Cancer Research Fund Alliance, an organization dedicated to researching ovarian cancer and providing supplies to not only people directly affected by it, but their families. Lots of good information on the website. If you like, you can click the purple letters in the description below and go to the website and see all the different resources there, and you can donate directly that way, or you can donate through our channel, and you can do things like affect the game. You can, for any amount of money, you can add to the spell bank, and at every $100 increment, the spell that we can cash in increases in level. You can do things like, for $1, give a player D10 healing die, an advantage for 2. Some of our higher tiers this month is for $50, you can give a limited use boon to a player of your choice from a list provided by our awesome DMJ. And for $25, name a background NPC and choose their occupation in Falcon's Crest, the place we're headed to. Fantasy names only and applicable applications, street vendors, performers, members of the court, etc. But if it's not in the budget, please don't feel pressured to donate. You can do things like share us on social media like Facebook and Twitter. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy the show. And one of everybody's favorite time of every session, it's time for Pun of the Week! Woohoo! What do you call a magic dog?
I don't know. What do you call a magic dog?
A labracadabrador! You're welcome.
Mr. Chimp is at the phone currently. He will be speaking I thought if we are wearing disembodied heads of animals on our today, I thought I'd join in.
I still have to unpack stuff. I don't know where my things are now.
Did you take a animal head hat on this trip? Is that packed away?
Well, now I'm actually back home now, but I'm in my new place.
Oh, ooh.
Oh, you moved.
I did.
Our store.
Owl talk? What?
House
tour.
Oh, house. Oh,
Owl talk.
with-
Owl
it's
talk.
mostly.
With the
You're
British
gonna see
accent.
boxes everywhere. It's not going to be a very interesting tour.
I love boxes.
No, There's a couch. There's a refrigerator. The kitchen's that way.
Nice. Is that an island or a little peninsula?
It's connected to the wall.
Nice.
The TV's behind me. Ta-da!
It's a big TV.
Bedroom's too far away and I'm too lazy.
It's nice. Way too separate.
Yeah, that's the things. Very exciting house tour.
Yes.
Or apartment tour, whatever.
How'd it go? You're
You're
muted.
You're muted.
I'm sorry, I just had to run down the street to grab him. That's why it took so long. So, Garrick.
The list.
Garrick is there. Certainly, seems to be, Juniper has opened her hospitality to you guys, so he is very much will help you as best he can.
Well, Garrick, you seem to have so much information about the northernmost. Is there anything we should know about the others? Anything that doesn't seem quite as obvious to people not from around here?
Well, as I said, the eastern lifts at Greymont, just a matter of getting in queue, and there's nice places there. There's some shops. There's a nice inn that you can stay at. The only little bit of as you pass through the First Fields Alliance farms, the rules of hospitality are very much adhered to here in the valley. And while there's no inns along the way, we could certainly set you up with some goods that you could trade. Whenever you sup with people, they will often open their hospitality to you. Not everyone, but it's friendly folk, and if you have something to offer, and we could certainly give you some of... the Arborleaf name carries a little bit of weight in the free fields, so that you would have room and board, so you're not having to camp out in the fields. And quite frankly, if you camp out in the fields, most likely you'll be run off. They don't like squatters, also people messing up their crops. So a little bit of something we can help with there. And then, as I said, if you go all the way down to Falcon's Crest, to the lifts there, you'll find the Royal Talon Guard there with the lifts. As we are approaching when all of the contingents from the different cities are arriving to muster before heading off to the conclave, they can be quite busy as well, and often have very large retinues with them that can block up those two lifts. Depends on how many people they bring along, right?
Iska turns to the group. I don't know if just the account of Mystica Sash is enough to get us expedited travel through the site.
It may not be, but the northern option is not viable, in my opinion.
We can't do east, and we can't go all the way around. That's going to take so long.
You're a persuasive person. Perhaps your personality and the sash will help. And you do have official conclave business.
True.
We don't know if we don't try.
Should it be something we try in the morning?
Well, we're not going to leave right now.
Maybe he was referring we try it in the morning before a bunch of people will get there. Like, we'd be up first in line.
We can try, but I'm not sure how much that will affect it. It is not a bad idea, though.
And basically you have reservations. You're given a time based on your queue. It doesn't... well, at the eastern lifts, that is. I've never been on the Sentinel lifts. I assume it's some sort of hierarchy that says who gets to go first, as your station would relay. You're muted.
Danny, you're muted.
Right. Player question: didn't he say it was like 2 days just to get to the closest lift, which is the northern one?
Yeah, I think he was talking about literally that you go early in the morning on the day you're there. But what he's saying is that the queues last for days. You're given a come back Tuesday at 6. There's not a standby line, so to speak.
If that is the case, it may not even make much of a difference between the road and the lift. I don't know. Just something to keep in mind.
Garrick would say, during the harvest, we take the road because we know that we're going to get there and it's our own power. But if you're in a hurry, you can cut that time in half. Potentially, depending on, again, it's all about access, right?
But we may end up waiting just as long as if we had gone ahead and taken the road.
It can happen.
Well, there are things that can be done with the road, sort of cutting a glance at Axel.
Gives a nod.
What do you all think? Try for expediency or take a guarantee? What is best?
I think we could try for expediency. Give it a quick shot. If it doesn't work, we make our ways and be sure.
We'd still have to go out of our way, which is time lost travel.
For possible time gained.
Yeah, Garrick points at the map and does say, it's just a day out of your way, or a day there and back to go to the north lifts. I mean, it's the green line here. You basically have to go to, sorry, out of character, but actually, yeah, that's not where you put Pebblebrook is not Pebblebrook, by the way. This blue dot.
The north lifts are the one with the mass syndicate is more kind of running it. So
correct.
Yeah, no, not that one.
So Pebblebrook is actually there.
Ditto.
Oh, I have to turn off the map.
This is such a tough one because I guess this is kind of OOC, but like I know Iska like absolutely wants to take that quickest way. Sounds like Ishkan wants to take that too, but Axel I think is going to have an issue with that, or if not an issue, at least be on high alert and high guard and suspicion the entire time we're there. I mean, all of us will be, but it's Axel most of all. But now he has gargoyles and stone druids.
I want to see the dick druids.
What kind of a position do you have to be in to have the Viceroy's favor? Is there an elven embassy here in Falcon's Crest?
There's embassies from all the major races and major houses and major guilds. Falcon's Crest is a diplomatic city. It is where everyone gathers under one roof.
You ever seen another elf like me around these parts?
Kind of looks at you. Can't say I have.
Wonderful. Thank you.
They're just not unique.
Well, Kel will say, for my part, I want to get where we're going as fast as we possibly can. If we can cut so much time off of the travel, then I say we attempt it.
Three votes. Silly, do you reckon you would have...
Question J.
Yeah.
Would Celia know if she could use her parents' name to get on the list.
She wouldn't know. I don't
She
think.
wouldn't
I mean, you're from Falinari, but I mean, you could certainly try. I would say in general, though, it's going to be interesting to see, name dropping and what works and what doesn't, and what might work at which lift and which wouldn't.
Yeah. Celia will point out that she could possibly use her parents' name to get on one of the lists. Because for 12 years of her life, she lived in Falinari.
That could work. If you're alright with using it.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't like it, but I'm fine with it. Celia goes, I don't really... I think I deserve to use their name to get on the list.
If she had any qualms about us doing this, she wouldn't have offered. I say, let's try it.
But which lift will that help with? Will it help with the northern lift, which is fastest?
Won't know till we try.
Let's go to the closest one, try it there. If it doesn't work, we continue south, which we would have to do anyway.
Luck.
It doesn't sit well with me, but if you feel like that will be the fastest way, then we shall try it.
Most of us want to go to north. North we shall go.
Decided.
Okay.
So Garrick just says, you'll need to drop your mounts off at Pebblebrook. You have to have a special permit to have mounts up on top. But usually the Jubilee stable mounts don't go much further than here and back. They tend to stick out a little bit.
What Pebblebrook were we supposed to deliver them, or were we supposed to take them all the way into Falcon's Rest?
You were supposed to take them to the Gambit Pass stables, which I mean, if you mention it or who else mentioned, the Gambit Pass stables are in Pebblebrook Market on the way.
All right, our path is decided.
Garrick, do you have anything for the cold nights on the plateau? Is there anything here that we can...
We could try to piece something together. We don't have much. She kind of looks around at you guys, your size. But we could get you some blankets.
If you have any spare fabric, I will fashion things for our group.
I will see what we can spare. I don't know if we've got enough for all of you, but maybe a blanket or two?
It would be appreciated.
Better than nothing.
Okay. The night grows more foggy, and everything sort of starts to wind down a little bit with the evening. I'd say it's probably getting close to 11 o'clock midnight-ish. What do you guys... go
As
ahead.
things begin to wind down, Kel will search out Juniper.
Okay. You find her. She is sort of at the end of one of the tables, not really sitting at the table, but sort of sitting turned away from the table, and she's looking at one tree that stands alone, not a part of the orchard. It is, and certainly to Kel's eye, just ancient looking. That she is sort of smiling at, and you see her. She's sort of, rubbing or just sort of worrying over her tear that is around her neck.
Kel will walk around, not come up behind her, but make sure that he comes into her field of vision so he doesn't surprise her.
Okay. She sort of looks at you and kind of nods, and she gestures towards sort of another bench that's sitting there. So you're sort of like at a picnic table, but would be sitting at the very end of it, looking out towards the orchard, and then this one tree that sort of sets apart from them. It's only about, if it's 12 feet tall, but its trunk is probably 4 feet across, and it's just this sort of gnarled, twisting, sort of very dried and rooted, old, gnarled tree. And do me a nature check, Kel. On an 18, even in this sort of foggy night, you notice different parts of this tree have different leaves and different types of branch configurations on them. This sort of central main trunk has had multiple other types of trees grafted to it, and that are now have become a part of the tree.
As Kel sits, he will turn to Juniper and say, "What is the story of this tree?"
She sort of smiles. It's our family tree. Well, one of them. The original trunk is a piece of, generations removed of one of the trees from the original orchards. And it is an olive tree that you can get most any branch to root if you coax it along. And she sort of smiles. The tear helps. And as we plant each new orchard, we plant a new family tree, and the fruits of our labors are grafted onto it, and as it grows, the family grows, and the orchards that once were grow, begin to return.
Kel looks a little overcome emotionally at hearing that story. And he says, "That touches to the heart of everything that I believe, the people I come from, although expressed in a different way. The heart is still there. Have you heard of the Sail Sioux?"
She sort of looks at you. I've not. Who are they? What is the story of their trees?
Sail Sioux, the tribe of which I became a part, lives far to the north, and also somewhat inhospitable lands. There is one tree that grows there, nowhere else, called Moral Thaw. And in the interest of time,
Okay.
he will tell the story of the Sail Sioux and the Moral Thaw. He will pull out one of his leaves, and as he has done before, using his druid craft, fashion a cup for him and a cup for her, and perform the tea ceremony with her,
And she just
explaining as he goes the meanings.
She smiles, and with a culture and a heritage so connected to trees, their whole form has changed over the years. She just, you honor me greatly, Kel. I'm an old woman. I'm not long for many more years here. I'm glad this is something I got to experience before my time ended.
And I the same, as he looks around at the orchard and the people, her family.
So she, feeling the emotion, both of you, she goes, so your Sail Sioux, they're farmers as well?
Of a sort, of the Moral Thaw. It is everything to us. It gives us sustenance and strength during the harshest, deepest winters. It teaches us of the preciousness and fragility of life and nature, and how it must be protected at all costs.
Yes, and tamed to bring sustenance to all those around.
And Kel nods.
And she sort of...
I would like. I think you suspected what I was thinking, and have already mentioned that it may not be as big of a help as I would like. I must rest because we have had a very long day, but I need less rest than most, and so in a few hours I would like to lend my strength to your land, if you will allow me.
And she goes, not many druids have offer such a thing. And she looks at you and she goes, it will be taxing upon you.
I know, but what better use of my strength than this?
And she sort of pats you on the hand gently, and she goes, I can do nothing more than thank you. But she looks into your sort of tired eyes and weary soul, and she goes, go, rest now, and only if you have strength. Grant us this boon.
I do have one question that I don't know if you can help with.
Of course.
But with your knowledge, he looks around, of the natural world and your talk of seeds, he will pull out the seed where Talarian's soul is.
And as you pull it out, I mean, it does have a slight aura around it. And she just sort of looks at it and she goes,
Do you have
this seed is sick.
any knowledge to impart?
It is sick, this seed.
I know.
It is beyond, I think, anything I can do. But she looks back at you. Perhaps there is someone. But I'm just an old farmer.
Oh no, you're far more than that.
She sort of smiles and pats your hand again. She goes, now I know you're too tired. And I need to get my rest too. So she sort of totters off.
Kel will sadly put the seed away again and go to his rest. And then, just so you know what I'm planning, he will do his rest, which should remove his level of exhaustion, give him all of his spell slots back.
Yep.
Heal him up, and then he will begin as soon as he awakes, without any waiting, because it is an 8-hour process. Use plant growth and which, if you cast the spell over 8 hours, you enrich the land. All plants in a half-mile radius centered on a point within range become enriched for 1 year. The plants yield twice the normal amount of food when harvested.
So, we need to rewind a little. You go to your rest, Kel. And as you settle in, I need you to do me a wisdom check.
Wisdom check,
just a check. You've had this sort of profound interaction with Juniper, and you settle in, and you can't quite get yourself settled. And in the first hour of your reverie, your mind and your nature sort of, as it always has done, sort of reaches out to the land around you. And there's still this discomfort within you. Streams are in irrigation channels. Trees planted in straight rows. Crops existing where they shouldn't. And to the south, the great sort of weight of Falcon's Crest and the civilization there. This cultivated land, there are shadows of plants that aren't present, echoes of animals that have left, small herbivores which have become increasingly more prevalent, predators retreating away. And as you get your rest, for the first time in a very long time, you have spent the night within the bounds of civilized land and not the wilderness. And you begin to feel your connection to your natural shifting ability start to slip away from you. Your CR0 shifting ability. You do get your rest, and about 3 a.m, awake with your full spell shots and level of exhaustion gone. And where would you like to set yourself up? Or what would you like to do?
Can I retcon that I would have asked Juniper where the best place to do this would be?
Sure.
Where she would prefer it.
Their orchards are, you pass by most of their orchard to the north of you, and so certainly to the north is sort of, if knowing that it's your knowledge of this would be a radial sort of effect from there. If you wanted to try to get the most orchard, or if you wanted to do it more centered around this tree, or I guess it would be up to you. If I think that she sort of leaves it to you.
I would want to try and get the most coverage of their orchard, and include the family tree.
Okay. So,
but not let it spill over into lands that aren't theirs.
Okay. So you sort of walk, I'm trying to think, it was about 2 hours from the edge. So you walk about 45 minutes till you can sort of figure you're deep within their orchard. Describe to me a little bit about, this is your first time casting this. What do you do?
Well, I think it's a combination of his meditation when he reaches down into the land to rest and rejuvenate himself. And looking for, as he did before, an appropriate spot to do the tea ceremony.
Okay.
The combination of wilderness and yet structure within the wilderness.
Okay. You find a spot here towards the center of the orchard where it seems as though the spacing is just a little bit off between two of the trees, and so there's a little bit more room, and you settle yourself down and druid craft your cup, and sort of reach down and start going through the motions of the ceremony. And as you reach into the soil to enrich the land, there is a resistance there from deep below, but it radiates all the way up to the topsoil, and you are able to push your will down into it, but trying to drive this force away, this sort of sponge that is absorbing your magic downward instead of outward, is difficult.
I try to engage my ley sight and see if there is any ley energy that I can tap into to supplement and add to what I'm doing.
Do me
particularly if there's a nature.
Yeah. Well, do me a nature check.
I'm going to use a nat 20 for that.
Okay. As you look around, you do see ley energy, but it is not free flowing. Specifically, nature ley energy sort of resides within many of organic things, like the trees in the orchard around you. You could try to pull that energy from them to focus it down into the earth, but you would literally be pulling the natural energies out of the trees you're trying to help.
No.
Yeah. So there is not a free current to try to tap into. In fact,
Okay.
It almost seems as though that's part of the problem. The land is not fertile. It is still corrupted. It is still infused with the magic of the war. And after we'll give you first 4 hours, you feel the radius of this spell as the sun is coming up has only reached probably maybe a dozen trees in each direction, sort of in radius, probably about, of marching, just to mark off the orchard. You basically have created sort of a circle, probably only about a dozen trees in radius, far smaller than what you would have expected. And it is, heavily just draining you to try to, every inch more, every tree more as you've been working at this has been a battle against your energy being pulled downward into the earth instead of outward into the trees themselves, as though there's still the old remnants below the soil that the trees are attempting to live in. Remnants of the war.
How am I perceiving this pull, or, this
just
whatever it is that's dragging the energy down instead of where I'm wanting to put it?
Like an undertow. Basically what's happening is that as you're trying to radiate this energy outward, it's just almost cascading back in on itself and falling downwards, as though it can't travel laterally out from the center point that is you. It's as though it's getting pulled downward instead of staying within sort of the living band of the soil around you. It's just getting pulled down. So every time you push forward, you've got to build it up almost to a wave that then just keeps settling and settling downward. Doesn't seem to ever get full. This sort of hungering area for magic below.
Is there any way I can mentally try and root that out, or break it up, or disrupt it, go against its pull to disturb it so it can be more easily fought, or build a mental covering over it so that my energy will float on the covering and go out?
You can certainly try. Give me a nature check. I'm not going to let you spend a nat 20 on it, if you were thinking. I'm not. Yeah, let's see a real roll.
Of course I was thinking.
Yeah, let's spend a real roll on this. See what happens. 18 is not bad. With that in mind, you take some of your knowledge of the ley energy and grabbing on to that, almost basically creating your own ley line. You, instead of pulling from the trees, the nature out of them, you realize you can pull it out of yourself if you want to. You will have to do a ley harmony check and attempt to do this, and you don't know how effective it will be in expanding the area.
Well, I'm absolutely going to try.
Yep.
Am I allowed to use net 20 for this?
Nope. Let's do rolls on this.
All right. So.
Let's let the dice decide.
Yeah. So first I need to roll a d3. Strength. No. Dex.
This is gonna be a pretty hard. Yeah, this is gonna be a pretty hard DC. $21. You reach deep into yourself and you find something you've never discovered in yourself before. Yeah, you find it. There is a space within you. A dense pocket of nature and natural energy within you. Something tied into the earth itself. And you find it. And with your mind, you reach out with your hand, much like you have reached out to the ley lines in the vise. And like a lightning bolt, similar to those ley lines that you've touched before, you touch this, and it sears through your nervous system like nothing you have felt before. Roll me a d8.
As Kel initially perceives that he wonders if this one instrument called me an anchor.
This energy welling up from you, this tether, this anchor into the earth, flows through you and sears through your nervous system, doing 5 points of dexterity damage to you as a vast wave of natural magic flows out across the orchards. The trees that were just beginning to have their first buds all burst into full bloom. Leaves as though it was midsummer instead of the very earliest of summers. And the field turns green and begins to bloom, and what was below is cut off from the earth above. and this is just after the 4 hours, you fall over, exhausted, fried, literally. Your nervous system fried. Your hands are shaking. You basically have all but no control of you, and the spell ends. But having completed the full effect of what the 8-hour spell would have been.
And I'm aware of this completion, this
Yeah.
flowering and growth.
Yes, you look up into, laying on your back, you look up into the trees and see the flowers, and them gently, a few from the shaking of the force of the energy falling down. The grass, where it was before pretty much sort of dusty, barren, the whole place is covered in grass and clover.
And I can feel the grass underneath me and
Yeah.
against my back
Yep.
and the back of my neck and my head, and I look just upward for a moment and then just close my eyes and smile and just smile and enjoy the feel of the grass on my back, the back of my neck. And not move.
Yeah, you just lay there as the sun rises, as petals from blossoms from these now flowering trees fall down upon you. As morning rises on the Amberleaf orchards, we're going to end our session. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A little bit more fun and information session. And yeah. So we're going to go around, meet everybody, and see what everyone thought. Let's go ahead and start with Kel, with Tunarth.
So, hey, I'm Tunarth. I was playing Kel, and yeah, go nature. And I'm Colin65 on Twitter. I don't do much but retweet this. And the other thing I'm in, which is T. Fredrickson 80's campaign, Slope Power Within, which NG9 so kindly just in chat. And NG9 and I are both in on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we play very different characters, and Claudius Brothers a Dick. And I also have a YouTube channel, which I didn't, because I was kind of in the moment there. Somebody wants to link it, great. If not, it'll show up some other week. But the music that I've written for and inspired by this amazing campaign that hopefully you've been enjoying, and has all of my music in videos. Well, not all of it, because there's some things that are still to come in progress. But yeah, and a quick...
Can I do a quick shout out, just in case, so I don't want him to run off? Salt Lord Ross, thank you so much for the $25 donation for all of our constant charity work. And thank you very much. If you want to purchase something down below in the doobly-doo, or I can put it into the spell bank, whichever you prefer. We can talk afterwards if you want to make a donation. At $25, you can name an NPC if you'd like in our coming up journeys into Falcon's Crest. So I'll get with you after the after we sign off. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I didn't lose him after that generous donation.
Not a problem. Going into this, I had a point of con damage from an earlier thing, when we were doing the game thing.
Yep.
And would I have gotten that back?
No, because this is your first long rest. So, so your first long rest, well, you would have gotten the con back because it's a D4. So you would have gotten the con back, but now you've got the 5 index.
Right. I mean, the dex I just took, but the con I would.
The con, yes, would have
because I only
because
had 1 point.
Because it was only 1 point. Otherwise, you'd had to roll for it.
Right. Okay, that's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Cool. Next up, let's go to which direction? Let's go to Good Guy Pie.
Hi, I'm Good Guy Pie. Boy. Sometimes, I'm happy for Kel. But, he's having a good time, he's having bad times, he's having good bad times. We need to fix our druid, guys. Can we get a spare druid and replace
Yeah, let's just bag Kel and get a new one. He's worn out, the tread's getting thin, he could blow out at any time. Let's just get a new one and be done with it. And let's get 2 because you need to replace them in pairs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all those stone druids. They sound super cool.
We can use him as spares and repairs. Right. I enjoyed this session. It was fun, and it was a nice change of pace. It's always good to sort of have one of these sort of sessions, but it's probably going to be ruined because I still haven't leveled up, and I'm scared, guys. I'm scared.
I'm just sitting here waiting on you, Good Guy. Whenever you want to start playing around with your new stuff, I'll be I'm right here waiting.
Oh boy, I can't.
I leave it totally in your hands, my friend. Totally in your hands.
Oh, you evil man. Anyway, you can find me at TooGood2Guy on the Twitter and a Good Guy Pie on the tweeties. And you can also find me on Monday at 8 o'clock GMT on the Baldies channel, playing Dan Bikeman, a tough neck who likes to make leather coats for his Pokemon. So.
Cool. Let's go to Tree Hugging Druid.
Hi, you can go follow me on Twitter. Celia has plans.
Cool.
Celia has big plans for next session.
We will see. It's going to be interesting.
I'll post my Twitter in the chat. You can go follow me there.
Awesome. Next up, Bird vs. Blaine.
Hey folks, I'm Bird vs. Plane. Fun session, lots of lifts. Glad to see Kel get to really lean into those ley lines. That was awesome, and I'm super stoked with that teaser of next session with Celia. We'll see what happens with that. You can follow me on Twitter or on Twitch at Bird vs. Plane. Links are in the chat. Do it.
Next up, we have NNG9.
Hello, I am NNG9, resident puntress, as you all got to experience. It's lovely. From when I got here, I had fun. And there was maps, so Luna's perfectly happy. Super not happy about the choice to go north, but what you gonna do?
Okay. Next up.
Oh yeah, follow me on Twitter, NNG9, I swear, and play video games, and then I do puns. There we go.
There you go. And last but not least, Dragons or Cats.
Just was not prepared, but I knew it was coming. I knew in the back of my mind it was coming. Hi everyone, I am Dragons or Cats. I played Ishgrin the Eladrin Warlock, who had a nice fun session, and I'm glad Kel decided to trade in his anchor for a paperweight. But next session, hopefully we can get him to grow that back just a little tad bit more. But you know, he's done a really good thing at that. The Sylvan Expanse ruined because of a nice elf-human war, so the healing process, thanks to Kel, is on the way. So that's badass. And those dice tonight, they were hot. You can find me on the internet as Dragons Are Cats, and I do my own charity D&D stream on Wednesday nights Australian Eastern Standard Time of 8 PM, and I usually stream Monster Hunter and fail when fighting Diablos. I hate Diablos.
Get dunked on.
Yeah, I get held dunked on.
And I am Tall Squall. I am your host. Hope you all enjoyed it. We do run the channel 100% for charity. Thank you guys, everyone who's donated this month. Next month, we will be starting a new charity, which actually I know which one that is for next month because this is one that I wanted. I've been waiting a long time and it has not rolled. It's one of our very first ones. It's been on the list from day one. So we are going to go with the Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox. I just lost. It's not fund. It is anyway for Parkinson's research. Foundation. Thank you. For some reason, I couldn't get past fund and foundation. So we will be starting that next month, and for the 5 sessions after that, because June has 5 Saturdays, and looking forward to that. There are some big things occurring in June for the station, and so and the Vice campaign, things to look forward to, and announcements to be made, and other interesting, crazy things as we get into Falcon's Crest. So anyway, I'm looking forward to all that stuff. You can find me on Learn by Play here in about an hour or on the D&D channel. And you can find me all over the internets by going to my social media. Twitch is the best one. Twitter is the best one to go to, where there's links to all the other stuff I'm in, including the new Midgard campaign on Tuesday nights, which is pretty darn cool. Anyway, we will be raiding someone afterwards. I will just stick it in the chat, and you can follow us over on our raid, give them a flex or whatever emote you'd like. And until next time, gather your friends together and tell a story, because that's what it's all about. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.